Dr. Hassan, I just want to say that the IDF have said in their statement regarding this attack in Khan Yunis, they've said that the IDF evacuated civilians from this area.
You don't ask the perpetrator of genocide.
We have to, Dr. Hassan, we have to ask the Israeli government.
If you also, in addition to that response, mention that Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, Human Rights Watch, the International Court of Justice would all beg to differ.
This past week, American trauma surgeon Dr. Firoz Sidhwa delivered testimony to the United Nations Security Council.
I'm not here as a policymaker or a politician. I'm a physician bearing witness to the deliberate destruction of a healthcare system, the targeting of my own colleagues, and the erasure of a people.
These doctors are not isolated voices. They have formed a network of sorts, a valuable one, to fill the void in reporting on this story caused by Israel's refusal to let journalists into Gaza and its killing of so many Palestinian reporters, more than 200 of them.
Thanks, Mina. In our lead story, we touched on the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF. Formed just months ago, it is an American-Israeli coalition that includes ex-CIA and military personnel. It is a shadowy group that started distributing aid in the southern end of the Strip this past week. There is not a single international aid organization that has endorsed or cooperated with the GHF. Instead, from the UN to Oxfam to Médecins Sans Frontières, warnings have been issued that the GHF is militarized, privatized, and politicized. An exercise in, quote, aid washing, when a pretense of aid is designed to cover up something else entirely. One of the news outlets tracking the GHF closely with reporting from Palestinian journalists in Gaza is Dropsite News. Its co-founder, Jeremy Scahill, joins us now. Jeremy, let's start with the name of this organization, now handling aid in the war zone, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Is the GHF out to do what its name implies?
Not in any way, shape, or form. I mean, first of all, let's just get one basic fact straight. The amount of so-called aid that it's distributing is a pittance relative to what is needed in these starvation conditions in Gaza that are being enforced as an act of war by the US-backed Israeli regime. It's incredibly cynical to use the term humanitarian in this name because Netanyahu himself has been very clear that this is a scam, a scheme that is intended to kind of quiet some of the criticism that Netanyahu has received, primarily from Republican senators who have said, we don't like the appearance of starvation in Gaza. So if you can create the facade that you're actually doing something, then we're going to make sure that the weapons keep flowing and our support for your war of annihilation continues. I mean, Richard, you couldn't get a sort of starker symbol of what the agenda is here, that you have a circumvention of an existing program that was effective, that you have American mercenaries deployed on the ground, that you have Israelis opening fire at desperate, starving Palestinians, and that it's all actually out in the open, that the intent of this is to be just sort of a facade of humanitarianism to enable a genocide.
The GHF's aid distribution got off to a bad start this week. The images that have come out of this, the Palestinians in those caged pens lining up for food. When you looked at those images, what went through your mind?
Well, look, I've been speaking to sources on the ground. We have reporters inside of Gaza, and my understanding is that there was almost no coordination whatsoever with local aid organizations to even inform people where they would be able to go to pick up these parcels or what would be inside of the parcels. People just heard through text message, WhatsApp, word of mouth, there's going to be aid dropped in this location. And so because the population is starving and you have acute malnutrition among thousands of children, people started to trek through incredibly dangerous terrain. And they arrive at these sites and it was very chaotic. In some cases, they were using biometric identification systems or interrogating people. In others, they forced or almost like cattle Palestinians into barbed wire fencing apparatus. On the first day that they started getting this aid distribution underway, we heard from sources inside of Gaza that a man had been kidnapped when he was interrogated by Israeli intelligence. They got his family on the phone. They were supposedly looking for some relative that the family hadn't been in touch with since the start of the war. And when he didn't provide information that they were demanding from him, they disappeared him. That family has no idea where he is. We've heard of at least a dozen or so more other people that were snatched when they went to go and get aid. Also, the Israelis opened fire at one point. They say that it was warning shots, but Palestinians were killed. You know, Israelis compare Palestinians. They want to essentially